Welcome to season 2 of The Corporate Life, where we elevate the game for businesses and their top level executives and corporate leaders. If season 1 was about living a fantastic corporate life, season 2 is about going deeper into the realms of big financial achievements and profound work satisfaction. Hi, I'm Hina Siddiqui, your host and a seasoned corporate warrior who's danced between loving and hating her corporate roles for years. I get it. The highs, the lows, the challenges, and the triumphs. In season 2, we are bringing you unique insights, powerful tools, and inspiring conversations with experts and thought leaders in the corporate industry. So whether you are a top-level executive, a business owner, or someone aspiring to reach those heights, fasten your seatbelts. This season is your passport to conquering the corporate world with financial heroism and unwavering work fulfillment. Let's redefine success together. Hi, this is Hina Siddiqui, and you are listening to the Corporate Life Podcast. Do you want to become an inspirational leader, or would you instead rather be an inspired leader? By the way, this is not my question to you. Dr. Yosi Amram is asking this question to all the leaders in his incredibly unique book, Spiritually Intelligent Leadership: How to Inspire by Being Inspired.
So you want to become an inspirational leader, or would you instead rather be an inspired leader? One, the other, or both? Most of my clients look puzzled when I first ask them this question, wondering how the two might be different. When exploring how it feels to want to be an inspirational leader, it is as if it feels neutral to them, as a matter of fact. They say their attention is turned outward to look at the effect they have on others. On the other hand, while contemplating what it means to be an inspired leader, most report experiencing a high level of energy, force, and vibrant aliveness, in which case their attention is turned inward, focused on how they feel about themselves. Since we can't control how others feel, attempting to become inspirational in their eyes is putting our fate in their hands. Conversely, becoming inspired is within our own power. While we might want both, we must be clear on the relationship between the two. Becoming inspired is the cause. Others finding us inspirational is the effect. Meaning, you can only lead others after you lead yourself. You become an inspiring leader only when you are inspired yourself, when you're lit up by a vision that calls to you from your future. As your own spark is ignited, your cause, energy, and commitment spread like wildfire.
In this universe of cause and effect, becoming inspired is the cause and others finding us inspirational is the effect. Very interesting and practical, right? Before we can inspire others, we have got to inspire ourselves first. Yes, we have got to inspire ourselves first. It's like trying to light someone else's candle when yours is barely flickering. It just doesn't work. This idea really hit home for me because let's face it, we have all had those moments where we are trying to lead but feeling completely uninspired ourselves.
You might have tried all sorts of strategies in pursuit of becoming an inspirational leader. Maybe you took a workshop on public speaking or read articles about how to improve morale. Adding inspirational behaviors to your toolkit may come in handy for a presentation or a cocktail party, but they won't sustain you or your team over the long haul as you guide them toward accomplishing your mission. So, how do you ignite your spark and fan your flame enough to draw others in? The answer is through developing your spiritual intelligence, SI for short.
Now I am wondering what you are thinking. You already know what emotional intelligence is, but what is spiritual intelligence? Is it the same spirituality the way we know spirituality for mental peace or for the good in the hereafter kind of stuff?
Spiritual intelligence is not a momentary epiphany of oneness, nor is it a belief in a higher power or God. Like emotional intelligence, a set of abilities that draws on emotional resources, spiritual intelligence is the ability to access inner spiritual resources and embody qualities like purpose, passion, compassion, integrity, presence, love, freedom, and joy. Spiritual intelligence helps these attributes permeate your life, lighting up your world and attracting others to you and your vision.
Are you also thinking what made him do all this research and develop this term called spiritual intelligence, or SI in short?
It has taken me more than half a lifetime to learn this. At 18, I was drafted into 3 years of mandatory service in the Israeli Air Force. Although I was very successful, quote unquote, as a leader in the military, I chafed against the command and control military leadership model. I knew there had to be a more humane approach to leadership and to resolve someday to build an organization that would inspire and support people's highest potential. Over the next few years, I was fortunate enough to realize that dream, founding and leading 2 technology companies through initial public offerings, IPOs. But even with this success, blessed with health and wealth, I felt an ache in my heart for greater and deeper fulfillment. I didn't know then what it was, but I knew it could only be found through exploring my inner psyche. Eventually, this yearning pulled me from my life as a CEO, sent me back to school for a Ph.D., and led to my current vocation as a clinical psychologist and executive coach. In school, I focused my doctoral research on spiritual intelligence and its impact on leadership. I wanted to define and measure it, as much to contribute to the field as to understand its potential for my own development.
I have recently read this book, Spiritually Intelligent Leadership: How to Inspire by Being Inspired, written by Dr. Yosi Amram. And I can tell you that this book is so interesting and intriguing that it's going to change the way you show up and inspire your workforce in your everyday corporate life. Dr. Yosi Amram has been on this show a few weeks ago, and if you don't know him yet, he's a distinguished clinical psychologist, executive coach, and pioneering researcher in the field of spiritual intelligence. With a background that includes an MBA from Harvard University and a Ph.D. in Clinical Transpersonal Psychology from Sofia University, Dr. Amram is committed to empowering individuals to unlock their boundless potential through spiritual intelligence. If you are a C-suite or top-level executive or even a business owner, I want to personally invite you to join me for an unforgettable experience at the 7-day Leadership Voyage Vision to Reality Yoga Retreat in a little heaven on this earth, the very beautiful Bali. You can achieve big-time corporate career, business, financial success without hard work in record time. This is what I'm going to show you and set you up for in this eco-luxury experience. It's limited to a powerful small group of no more than 12 top-level executives. We will dive deep into corporate coaching the yoga way. Because yoga is much beyond the postures and asanas. It's the alignment of body, mind, emotions, and energy in one direction to achieve anything that you want while being sane and yourself. Together, we will uncover your subconscious blocks, unearth your hidden leadership qualities, and turbocharge your money mindset. Visit my website at www.authorhina.com to learn more and reserve your spot. You deserve this incredible experience. Yosi Amram's Spiritually Intelligent Leadership is not your typical leadership book, and that's what makes it stand out. What hooked me from the start was Yosi's raw vulnerability and honesty as he shares his own journey. It's not often you come across a book where the author bears their soul, but Yosi does it in a way that's truly, truly touching. And guess what? I asked the author this question. Yosi, I love the way you shared your story with so much vulnerability. How easy or difficult was that for you to write about your harsh struggles?
Oh boy, it wasn't easy by any means. I went through many iterations as I was writing the introduction in my life story. There's so much stigma in our culture around psychotherapy and depression, and I had my spiritual awakening, and it led to a mania, and I was pushed out of my company, and there are all kinds of rumors about that I was emotionally unstable. And at the time, I was shamed. I basically was shut out of the network of people, of CEOs and venture capitalists that I was plugged into the top echelon of Silicon Valley. But when this crisis happened, people stopped responding to me. So I had all this shame around that. And I had to, as I was writing the story, I was kind of reliving that whole time. And so it was therapeutic in a way to process that. But I felt it was so important because there's so many people that suffer. And as a clinical psychologist, I see people that dealing with that and their family members, and it's so stigmatized. And I think it's so important to be vulnerable to build trust. As leaders, I think one of the qualities that enables leaders to build trust is their vulnerability and authenticity. So even though it was hard, at some deep level, I knew that it was super important to practice what I preach and to have the kind of impact that I want to have in the world. So it was hard, but it can be done. It can be done. Vulnerability is hard. It brings up fear. But as I like to say, courage is not the absence of fear. It's the ability to move forward despite of and in the face of fear. So I had fear. It was difficult, but I found the courage somehow.
We will never take anything new on board without being convinced about what's in it for us. So what exactly can the SI offer you? Has it helped people like you and me before? What does the journey look like?
The SI scale I created has since been translated into over a half dozen other languages. Many other researchers have demonstrated its predictive efficacy, showing that SI contributes to satisfaction and quality of life, work performance, and effective leadership. In fact, leaders with greater SI have been shown to produce not only better morale, commitment, and engagement in their teams, but also better financial results for their organizations than those with less SI. And throughout the entire organization at all levels, people with greater SI are more productive and effective. Over 1,000 papers have cited my SI research. As of today, 2 decades since its inception, SI has been established as real and positive influence in our professional and personal lives. Many things might motivate us to develop our spiritual intelligence, but no matter the impetus, we universally experience a similar divine kiss on our hearts. Our souls are stirred up and our spirits are aroused. Naturally, we desire more. So we begin by traveling inward, or more accurately, diving to the depth of our being, into our essence, where we encounter the spark of our aliveness, our spirit, derived from the Latin spiritus, meaning the animating force and breath of life. Where we are inspired, we are most interconnected. Where we also find our interconnectedness with all humanity and ultimately all of life, sharing in its spark. It is there we are in alignment with the deepest truth of our nature. And from that place, all our SI qualities naturally arise. Cultivating these qualities in our lives further fuels our spark and fans our flame, letting their light and energy radiate outward, drawing others in and reinforcing each other in a positive feedback loop, thus uplifting ourselves and our world. This is how we become spiritually intelligent leaders, SI leaders for short, grounded in the core of our being. We become inner directed with the courage to be our unique, authentic selves. Interconnected, we are naturally stand our ground with confidence. And interconnected, we listen to others with openness. Hence, we create and cultivate collaborative communities of people with common missions, visions, and values. I have seen this happen in my own life, in my clients' lives. Now, as a therapist and coach, I have worked with numerous CEOs, many of whom have built successful businesses, leading organizations with thousands of employees and annual revenues in the billions. These individuals represent the entire spectrum of belief, from the spiritual but not religious, to devout practitioners of a particular religion, to agnostics and atheists. Regardless of their orientation, they can connect with the sacred spark of their life force and use it to become more powerful, centered, and effective. They come to lead inspired lives that benefit themselves and inspire and impact all those around them, both personally and professionally. Whether you are an aspiring leader or a seasoned veteran, you undoubtedly already embody many SI qualities. You hold some vision of your potential, the person and the leader you aspire to be. If you trace this aspiration to its source, you will find it arising from deep within your heart, your soul, and your sacred spark of life. This book is written to help you ignite that spark and fan your flame to lead an inspired life, so that your radiant light may shine through as you become more purposeful, graceful, joyful, powerful, and empowered.
There is something really interesting and powerful that Yosi talks about: leading from behind. Leadership is not just about being the big shot out in front. Yosi flips that notion on its head, showing us that leading from behind can be just as impactful. And even more, I believe, it's all about empowering others to shine, and that's where the magic happens. What is your awakening purpose and vision for the impact of this book?
Well, the purpose for the book, the purpose of my life, my personal mission is to help awaken greater spiritual intelligence in myself and the world. I would love to see a world where more and more leaders in business and in communities and nonprofit and in government are truly inspired, and they have a vision of a better organization or world they want to help build, and they connect people around that vision that are aligned with that vision, and then that those people form communities and that are aligned behind that vision, and then those people feel empowered and energized and inspired themselves, and that energy and inspiration ripples out throughout the world. And so my aspiration, my purpose is to get more and more leaders to become spiritually intelligent. And in the same way that emotional intelligence, 30 years or so after it was first researched and conceived, is now in the mainstream of our zeitgeist, and everybody talks about emotional intelligence and leadership and business and life. And my vision is in 10, 20 years, the same thing will be understood about spiritual intelligence as complementary and just as important, if not more important, than emotional intelligence. And I think that will help leaders feel more empowered, more inspired, more fulfilled. I've seen that with over 100 CEOs that I've coached. As they get more inspired and develop their spiritual intelligence, they feel their confidence, their power, their trust, their integrity. And so they become more fulfilled, happier human beings, and more effective in their job and work. And the research shows that inspired employees are twice as productive as people that are just doing their job to earn a paycheck. So it's good for the bottom line. It's good for the happiness of the leader and everyone around them.
Spiritually intelligent leadership is full of real business examples and case studies of Dr. Amram's clients. and you can relate with a lot of them. Like, I found Ted's story immensely powerful. It shows us how we can be friends with fear, which is a very common emotion, and most of us leaders stay trapped under our own glass ceilings and sabotage our breakthroughs. Every emotion has a message for you if you're willing to receive, and when you accept that with grace, it leaves with grace.
Ted, CEO of an enterprise software startup, is visibly distraught as he comes into my office. Shaking his head, he collapses into the chair and unloads. I can't believe it. The company that offered to acquire us a year ago just announced a new product that looks very competitive with ours. What was I thinking when I turned down their offer? If I had just accepted it, I'd have met all of my long-term financial goals and walked away a winner. Now, I'm not sure if we can compete with such big players. I might lose everything. After he's done, his body goes limp. He musters, "Everyone is waiting for my response to the competitor, but I just want to hide." I invite him to take a deep breath and simply tune in to what's happening. He describes sensing a ball of tension in the pit of his stomach, shallowness in his breath, and stress throughout his body. "What are you feeling?" I continue to inquire. He thinks, then responds, "I'm scared and second-guessing my decision." I then guide Ted in a process I use with many clients. Let's start by exploring your fear. Ted's face scrunches with disdain. I follow up, "You don't have to like it, but try treating your fear with respect by just allowing it to be there." Then, following the allow and include method, I invite Ted to feel his feet on the ground, his whole body held by Mother Earth, supporting him exactly as he is. Ted takes a deeper breath and reports that while the fear is still there, it is less overwhelming, and the tension he felt has softened a little. We continue drawing from the breath and begin a sequence of statements starting with, "I am here now, aware of my fear." With these words, Ted's face softens a bit. On the next exhale, I invite him to shorten the sentence to, "I am here now, aware." After a few more breaths, I suggest he shorten the sentence to, "I am here now." Then to "I am here." And finally, to simply "I am." After this sequence, Ted says his whole body is softened and his presence feels much larger. He tells me that while he can still sense some fear and everything else just is. As he describes it, there is an isness to everything. While he's present to his fear, rather than being consumed by it, I invite him to listen to any messages his fear has for him. First, he says, it tells him that he needs to be more vigilant, to up his game, and to accelerate product innovation at the company to stay ahead of the competition. Then his fear proceeds to list all the improvements he should make, enhancing customer support, offering more complete solutions, forming partnerships, and considering acquisitions, all of which would make sense to him. But now, rather than feeling overwhelmed by the decisions before him, he feels energized. He feels called to action. The week that followed our session, Ted rallied his team around these new initiatives. Still, staying ahead in an increasingly competitive market is no small feat. And over the next few months and years, he found himself growing quite familiar with fear. But when he practiced acknowledging and learned to simply be with his fear, it no longer paralyzed him. Ted's company managed to remain a leader in the industry, ultimately becoming a standalone public company. This, however, would bring its own set of even greater hurdles. Playing a bigger game invariably means facing bigger challenges. And when we meet those challenges or not, our work is always to continue to grow and evolve. It is easy to view fear as a sign of weakness, something to avoid, suppress, or run away from. The fear of fear can paralyze us more than fear itself. We need not be fearless, rather we need to be courageous, the capacity to move forward in the face of fear. In the words of Martin Luther King Jr., first, we must unflinchingly face our fear and honestly ask ourselves, why are we afraid? This confrontation will, to some measure, grant us power. We shall never be cured of fear by escapism or repression, for the more we attempt to ignore and repress our fears, the more we multiply our inner conflicts. We wouldn't survive without fear. It alerts us to threats and heightens our senses so we can quickly flee or fight. Although our nervous system's response to fear is based on evolutionary adaptation to physical threats, more often than not, the fear we experience isn't a sign of imminent mortal danger. What gets us is the worry that we can't handle the situation at hand emotionally, and we'll end up experiencing some ugly feeling we aren't able to tolerate earlier in life. We need to understand our fears and develop the capacity to distinguish between ones that represent a real threat to our physical survival versus ones that threaten our psychic comfort or egoic identity. We can only do so by turning toward the fear with curiosity, as the Buddhist teacher Shogam Trungpa instructs. Smile at fear. When we do, we become present to the truth of our experience, which is the source and expression of our power. While fear happened to be what Ted felt most averse to, he, like most of us, tended to resist feeling any difficult emotion, whether it was fear, anger, hate, sadness, grief, confusion, or despair. But whatever the feeling, there is power in being willing to face it head on and containing it within our field of presence so we can listen to and learn from its messages.
And let's talk about embracing spiritual principles in our top leadership roles. It might sound a bit out there, but trust me, it makes total sense. Bringing a bit of humanity, purpose, and yes, even spirituality into those top leadership roles can work wonders. It's not just about making money or climbing the ladder. It's about making a real difference and moving forward together. One of the coolest parts of the book is the Your Turn activities at the end of each chapter. These are not your run-of-the-mill exercises. They are like little light bulb moments that make you go, aha. I found myself nodding along and scribbling down notes like a delighted reader. What is the best way of getting the most from reading spiritually intelligent leadership?
Yeah, well, it's important to understand that cultivating spiritual intelligence is not cognitive intelligence. So it's not like you read the book and then you're done with your spiritual intelligence. Now, then you understand the concept, which kind of sets you on a map. So it might be good to kind of skim the book or read the summary of the qualities of the introduction or the map chapter first, just to get a sense of the territory and the map. But then this is not a speed reading book. This is not the book that you want to read in 1 week and you're done. I think this is the kind of book that I would say each week or even each month, you dedicate to one quality and you say, this week I'm going to read the purpose chapter or the gratitude chapter or the beauty chapter or whatever it is. And then do the exercises. Don't just read the book. It's all about the transformation that one has to go through. And it's not just a cognitive thing. You have to bring it into your heart and process the emotions that come up and then bring it to your body. So you're embodying it. Spiritual intelligence is really about embodying these qualities. And that's a journey. It's one needs to be gentle with oneself and expect that it takes time in building new habits. There's, all the research and everything. There's this bestseller book now, Atomic Habits, talks about making small incremental changes to build habits. So I think the best way is to take one's time, and then you can refer back to if there's a particular quality. It's kind of like a recipe book. You could do it, and then you can come back and say, oh, I really want to go back to beauty or joy or whatever it might be, egolessness or higher self or intuition or openness. And for each of those, there's exercises and case studies. So you can kind of go through it, do the exercises, and then come back to it when that becomes relevant. Confucius said, if there's righteousness in the heart, there's beauty in the character. If there's beauty in the character, there will be harmony in the home. If there's harmony in the home, there will be order in the nations. When there is order in the nations, there will be peace in the world.
In my honest opinion, Spiritually Intelligent Leadership is the kind of book that makes you sit up and take notice. It's got heart, it's got soul, and it's got some seriously good insights. So if you're ready to shake up your leadership game and maybe even find a little inspiration along the way, this book is definitely worth a read. Find the link in the show notes below and go grab your copy. It's so well worth your time and money. And don't forget to connect with me on LinkedIn and let me know how you enjoyed my take on this incredible, one-of-a-kind book, Spiritually Intelligent Leadership. That's it for this week. I'll see you next week with an amazing conversation about being a fantastic leader and increasing business profits. Stay happy and safe. If you loved what you heard, don't forget to hit subscribe, share the wisdom, and throw in a cheeky review.